Hi guys, Dave here for Southern Land Solo. Thanks for tuning in. This video is on layering for the New Zealand bush. Now I know there's a ton of videos on YouTube for layering for adverse weather conditions and for the cold, and this is just my 2 cents worth. But I also want to give people a basic understanding of layering, and also so that they can go and purchase their own layering system, which they can tweak and personalize as they go. So the purpose of layering is threefold: to wick moisture away from the skin, to maintain the body's core temperature by maintaining the heat around the body, and also to protect us from the elements, the wind, the rain, the snow, what have you. One of the key elements there is wicking moisture away from the skin. Moisture will conduct heat away from the skin 25 times faster than air will. So it's crucial that we get that moisture, the sweat or what have you, off the skin and away through the various layers of clothing so that we can maintain our body warmth. And with the different layers, as we're working around the farm or whatever we're doing, or out in the bush or tramping around exerting ourselves, we can take layers off so that we don't overheat and really start sweating. Or when we stop for a rest break, we can put layers back on so that we can maintain our heat. So the basic layering system starts at the skin, and then it's 3 to 4 layers of clothing, more if we need it. You hear the term all the time, cotton kills. Well, yeah, it really can. Cotton in the summertime is real good. It keeps you cool. Cotton absorbs water, but it doesn't doesn't wick it away from the skin. It holds it there in the fabric next to the skin, so it cools you down. Really good in summertime, but very detrimental in wintertime. So you don't really want cotton against your skin in the winter time. What I have for my layers are this 100% merino wool jersey. This is like 10-20 bucks from an op shop, and it's size small. I normally take a large, but I got the small because it's snug fitting. It's not too tight so that it's constrictive, but it hugs the body. It's a nice snug fit, and that's what you want as your base layer up against your skin. I have 100% merino. Polypropylene as a synthetic fabric is good to have as well. What that does is that very first layer, it helps keep you warm, but the crucial thing is it picks up the moisture that your skin's given off and it wicks it away to the outside of the fabric. So up against your skin here, you're sweating away, and it wicks it to the outside of the fabric. Then you go to your mid layer, or one of your insulation layers, and that continues the wicking process. It takes the moisture off of here and wicks it to the outside of this garment. You can also have, if it's cold enough, a second insulation layer, and then your outer layer. So this outer layer is swan dry, very hard wearing woolen outer layer. It's lined as well, so kind of got 2 layers in there technically. There's the wool lining in there. And that continues the process as well, because wool and the purpose-made synthetics will continue wicking the moisture away to the outer layer. And then, so the moisture now has gone all the way from my skin to the outer layer of this garment. So my skin is as dry as it can be. Each of these different layers has helped to hold in the warmth that my body gives off. And then an outer layer on top of that to protect against the environment, so against a windbreak or a water repellent or waterproof layer on the outer of that, so a raincoat or a poncho, something like that. And that's pretty much the layers done, so 3 or 4 layers. I have here a vest and a shirt. Doesn't have to be like that, that's just what I prefer. 2 shirts if you like, couple of vests, you know, mix and match according to what you want. Other items to consider when you're out in the bush: are a wool beanie. Wool, or again synthetic. Make sure it's a polypropylene or a microfleece, something like that, that wicks moisture away. There's a lot of synthetic fleeces out there. They can keep you very warm, but a lot of them aren't moisture wicking. It's like wearing a plastic bag. They will keep you very warm, but you'll overheat and you'll sweat, and the sweat will stay close to your body because the fabric doesn't wick it away. So if you get synthetic, make sure it's a microfleece or polypropylene. This is a wool beanie, which I prefer as opposed to synthetics. Anything with acrylic in it, I tend to keep away from acrylic. That's me personally. Acrylic is very warm and it's very soft and very comfortable, but it doesn't breathe and it doesn't wick moisture away. And you find a lot of acrylic beanies out there. You just buy them in all the shops, even outdoor shops have acrylic beanies. Might be okay around camp. Maybe when you're sleeping it might be comfortable and keep you warm. Although the moisture buildup could happen in them. But you know, you don't really want acrylic when you're walking around out in the bush and stuff, because you just start sweating. Good pair of socks. These are wool blend. These ones here, you get them at the warehouse. They're called Alp socks. These ones here in particular are called the NATO brand. Army has used them for years. I don't know if they still do, but they used to use them for years. So Alp socks, in particular the NATO ones. These have a 65% merino, 35% nylon. And these are what I wear all the time. I've never had a problem with these. 65% merino, so they adequately wicks away the moisture from my feet, because your feet do sweat. And the nylon gives a good, tough, hard-wearing sock. The merino, these used to be just regular wool, not merino, and I preferred the regular wool ones. I think they were a bit tougher, a bit longer lasting. But these merino ones are how they make them now, and they're fine too. I still buy them. You can layer up in socks inside your boots. What you want to be careful there of is that you're not constricting your blood flow. It gets too tight in there, and then you put a boot on top of that, and that isn't designed to have layered socks in there, and you can actually give some damage to your feet, cause some problems there. So if you're going to layer up with your socks and you think you can do that on a regular basis, might want to consider half a size or a size larger in your boots. And these fellas here as well, they are part of the layering system, or can be added into the layering system. They used to be called bike shorts, but joggers wear them, cyclists wear them, things like that. These are great at moisture wicking, and they stop chafing. Other things you can do is just use Vaseline on the thighs if you get chafing with lots of hard walking, and just on the inside of the thighs here, and that stops chafing. But other than that, a pair of these bike shorts is really good. I wouldn't go to sleep in them because they are tight. They can be constrictive, so you want to take them off, let your body breathe at the end of your exercise and the end of your work or the end of your walk. So a beanie, bike shorts, and a good pair of socks. An important thing to keep in mind that often gets overlooked is your extremities, or those exposed areas of skin that can still cool down your body's core temperature. Your face, your fingers, your feet. Gloves, really important to have. Again, I tend to steer away from anything acrylic, even acrylic blends. I tend not to like them. Wool gloves or synthetic ones that are purpose-built that can wick moisture away and still be breathable. We've already covered a beanie for the head. That's a lightweight polypropylene, the one there. But keep in mind your face as well. Any exposed skin, your blood still flows through it. Then your skin is exposed to the cold, so the blood in that area cools down and then flows back to your heart. So you can chilling the rest of your body down. So you can have all your layering on and everything and still wondering why you're getting chilled. It's probably because of the exposed skin, in particular the fingers and the feet. So woolen balaclavas, you know, keeping the face covered, face mask, even a shamag, you know, as long as it's not getting wet. And because the shamag is cotton, as long as it's not getting wet, it can be a wind block, and the different layers of it can actually hold the heat in as well. I like to cover staying warm while we're sleeping. So for me, because I've got no insulation, I have a polypropylene beanie. I could wear my woolen beanie, but I find it a bit too constrictive at night, and this does me fine. If it's still getting a bit chilled, I just pull the sleeping bag or blanket over my head. A nice loose pair of woolen socks. These socks are nice and thick. They are actually proper tramping socks, but they're nice and loose, and I just tend to wear them for sleeping socks. A pair of polypropylene long johns. You can't miss these in the dark. Very colorful. These were only about 20 bucks. These were offcuts, and some of the shops do that. They get offcuts of material, and they had them made into long johns, and they sell them in the bargain bin, exactly where these ones belong. But they do the job just fine. And these are, I think, a size too large for me, because I want them slightly loose. I don't want anything constricting me when I'm asleep. So these are nice and loose and comfortable and keep me warm properly. And then I have a merino top. This is an old one, 10 bucks from an op shop, a thrift store. Got all the holes in it from years of moths sleeping in them as well as me. And really good. It's a loose fitting merino long sleeve. So with all these layers here, I'm very comfortable wrapped up in my blanket or my sleeping bag at night. An example of keeping the extremities warm to help keep your core temperature warm is I was out car camping last spring at the base of Mount Ruapehu. It was very cold, and I was sleeping in the back of my car. I was on my inflatable mat, which had a bit of insulation in there, so that was quite warm. And then I had my blanket on top of me, had that made into a sleeping bag, so that was quite warm as well. Now, my body core should have been warm. I had on my thermal, had my blanket on and everything, and I had my little beanie on, had some socks on, but I was chilled for most of the night. I couldn't understand why. I felt my skin up here, my skin was warm. Then I felt my skin around my legs. I didn't have any thermal pants on. Normally I don't wear these when I'm walking, and so I got in a bad habit of not wearing them when I was sleeping. And my legs were cold. And what it was doing, even though I had a blanket on and I had my core covered up with this merino, I was still cold. It's because the coldness from my legs was chilling the blood in my legs. That blood was going back to my core, and it was chilling down my whole body. And what I did is I had to pull another jersey out of my bag, and I didn't have any thermal pants. I went straight out the next day and bought these. I didn't have any thermal long johns, so all I had was this wool jersey. So I laid on my side, and I just put the wool jersey over my leg like its own little blanket and just let it sit there. And I could feel the warmth like immediately. Within 30 seconds I had warmed up. So just covering that exposed skin, even though I had a blanket over me, that extra layer of warmth over that warmed my whole body up instead of it being chilled down the way it was getting. So it's just a quick lesson there in any exposed skin in the cold can bring your whole temperature down. So you got to cover all the bases. Cool. So thanks for watching, guys. Any questions or comments, please put them down in the comments area below. I really love going through the comments and learning from them and answering them as well. If you like the video, then please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks, guys. See you on the next video.